"You're pathetic," my son said, loud enough for the whole family to hear. He didn't even flinch when he said it. Just sat there at the head of the table, grinning, like he was the man of the house now. Broke. Useless. Sad little man. The turkey hadn't even been carved yet. Everyone went quiet. Forks stopped midair. My brother stared down at his plate like maybe if he didn't look up, he wouldn't have to choose sides. But my son? He leaned back in my chair, arms stretched, king of the castle. The castle I built. I didn't say a word. I didn't raise my voice. Didn't cry. Instead, I reached into my coat pocket, pulled out an envelope, handed it to the lawyer sitting 2 seats down. He didn't even know the lawyer was invited. Nobody did. He just kept smirking right up until the reading started. And then? Well, you should have seen his face when he realized what his mama did before she died. He thought he was going to inherit the kingdom. But the queen had other plans. I work with my hands. Always have. Grew up on this land, raised cattle with my old man, learned to fix a fence before I learned to drive. Wasn't glamorous. Wasn't easy. But it was ours. I met my wife at the local diner. She was waiting tables. I was covered in grease from rebuilding a transmission. She laughed when I ordered coffee at 9 at night. Said only old men drink it black after sundown. I told her I planned to be one someday. We built a life together. 1 house, 2 kids, 27 years. She died 2 summers ago. Ovarian cancer. Silent. Fast. Cruel. She left a hole in our home I can still feel when I walk past the empty chair in the living room. She always sat near the window. Said it helped her keep track of the world. After the funeral, the kids stayed around a while. My daughter, June, tried to hold things together. Brought casseroles. Made excuses for her brother. Said he was grieving his own way. But grief doesn't look like entitlement. And that's what it was. My son, Tyler, started acting like he owned the place. First it was small things. "Hey Dad, you probably shouldn't drive anymore. That old truck's dangerous. I'll take it off your hands." He didn't ask. Then, "You should think about downsizing. Big house for 1 person? Doesn't make sense. I'll move in and help with things." Help? He stopped helping years ago. Never cared for the cattle. Never mowed the lawn unless I paid him. Last time he picked up a shovel, it was to scrape ice off his windshield. But I bit my tongue. Again and again. Because I'm his father. Because I thought maybe he'd grow out of it. Because I made excuses. Like parents do. Then one afternoon I got home from the hardware store, and he was already on the front porch. Blueprints. Samples. Real estate brochures spread across the table like a war plan. "Thinking of renovating," he said. "We could turn the east wing into a rental. Airbnb cash easy." I looked at him. Really looked. That same smirk he had as a teenager when he lied about where he was going Friday nights. The same eyes, but no trace of the boy who used to sit next to me in the pickup singing Garth Brooks off-key. I asked, "You talked to your sister about this?" He laughed. "She's not cut out for this kind of thing, Dad. She'll get her share when the time comes." The time? That's when it hit me. He thought I was already gone. He'd been counting the minutes. Like I was just an old car sitting in the garage waiting for a tow. I stared at the porch light above him. One of the bulbs was flickering again. I'd been meaning to fix it. He stood up, stretched, clapped me on the back. "Don't worry, pups. I got this. Just sit back and enjoy retirement." Retirement? He walked off whistling. Said he had a meeting in town. Didn't even help me bring in the bags. Inside the house, I set the paint thinner down on the counter and stared out the window. Same view my wife always had. Past the barn, over the fields, toward the tree line where the sun always dipped low at the end of the day. And that's when I remembered the envelope. The one my wife gave me in the hospital. It was sealed. Her handwriting on the front. For the lawyer. Only when it's necessary. I never opened it. Never asked. Didn't think I'd need to. But that night, I took it out of the drawer. Held it in my hands. And I started to wonder what she'd seen in Tyler that made her write it. Maybe she saw what I hadn't wanted to see. Maybe she knew before I did that love doesn't always get passed down with the blood. The weeks that followed just got worse. He started walking through the house like he already owned it. telling June what furniture she could take when I finally let the place go. Dibs on the dining table, he said once. Real oak, right? That'll go nice in my office. His office? I told him to show some respect. He rolled his eyes. Said, Dad, stop being so dramatic. You've had your time. Let the next generation take over. My time? I stayed up that night on the porch. Just me and a lukewarm beer and a crumpled mortgage bill I'd already paid off 20 years ago. I kept staring at that empty chair where my wife used to sit. The moonlight hit the wood just right, and it felt like she was still watching the yard. Watching him. Watching me. Next morning, Tyler had some guy in a suit walking the land with him. Pointing. Measuring. Laughing. Just a contractor, he said. Said I was getting in the way of progress. That night, I made 2 phone calls. One to our old family lawyer, and one to June. Come home for Thanksgiving, I told her. Bring the kids. We're having dinner. All of us. She could hear it in my voice. Something had changed. And it had. Because I knew now. It was necessary. I wish I could say Thanksgiving came easy that year. It didn't. There's something about cooking alone that makes the silence louder. She always did the turkey. I was in charge of mashed potatoes and not burning the rolls. But this time it was just me in that kitchen, peeling potatoes like they'd done something wrong. The oven timer beeped 3 times before I even heard it. The whole house smelled like rosemary and regret. By noon, June showed up with her 2 boys, all dressed up like they were going to church. She hugged me tight, said nothing, just looked over my shoulder like she was checking for ghosts. I told her Tyler would be there soon. She stiffened. He called me last week, she said. Told me to get in line if I wanted anything from the house. I nearly dropped the gravy boat. He what? She nodded. Said he's already picked out the land he's keeping and what he's selling. Said it's just business. Business. We were still setting the table when he pulled up loud, obnoxious, blaring music like it was spring break in a Walmart parking lot. He stepped out of a brand new truck, all shiny rims and least arrogance. Didn't even knock. Just barged in with his girlfriend, some woman I never met, wearing heels on my hardwood like it was a runway. Smells like retirement, he joked, sniffing the air. I said, it smells like your mother's house. He ignored me, sat down at the head of the table. My chair. Snapped his fingers and told the boys to sit wherever. Like it was his housewarming party. June gave me a look. I nodded, told her it was fine. But inside, I felt like a ghost at my own table. We passed dishes. Made small talk. The kids asked about the barn cat. I kept glancing at the empty chair by the window. And then, somewhere between stuffing and sweet potatoes, it happened. He did it. He leaned back in the chair, tapped his glass with a fork like some kind of CEO about to give a toast. I just want to say, he said, standing up, how thankful I am that this place will stay in the family. June froze. I didn't blink. I've got some exciting plans coming up, he went on, grinning like he was at a press conference. Gonna modernize the whole operation. Renovate. Invest. Probably sell off a few acres that aren't doing much. Make it more efficient, you know. I said nothing. And, Dad, he added, turning to me, I want you to know you'll always have a place here. Maybe not in the main house, but we'll build you something nice. A little cabin, maybe, near the back fence. June gasped. You're serious, she said. He chuckled. Come on. Don't act surprised. We've all been thinking it. Then he looked me dead in the eye. You've had a good run, but let's be honest. You can't keep up. You're, and here it came, broke, useless, pathetic. The fork in my hand didn't shake. My heart didn't race. I just stared at him. And the worst part? He smirked, like he was doing me a favor by kicking me out with a smile. That's when I stood up, walked over to the coat rack, reached into the inside pocket, and pulled out the envelope, handed it to the man sitting 2 seats down from June, a man nobody else at the table had noticed. Who the hell is this? Tyler asked. The man didn't answer, just opened the envelope, pulled out a document, cleared his throat. My name is Greg Hamilton, he said, attorney of record for the late Mrs. Helen Markham. I've been asked to read the contents of a sealed, posthumous addendum to her will. You could have heard a feather drop. The only sound was the kids chewing slower. The girlfriend stared down at her plate like maybe she could disappear into the cranberry sauce. Greg read. And what he read made Tyler's jaw clench so tight I thought he'd break his teeth. Every asset, every acre, every dollar, every share in the family business left to me, not to be split, not to be divided, not to be debated. All of it left to her husband. Me, she'd signed it 3 weeks before she passed. Had it notarized, sealed, and delivered in secret. Tyler stood up so fast his chair tipped backward. What kind of, he started. I cut him off. She knew, I said. She saw what you were, what you'd become. And she didn't want the house she built turned into a cash grab. He started pacing, ran a hand through his hair, looked around like maybe someone would back him up. Nobody said a word. And in that silence, he realized he wasn't the heir. He was just the intruder. You'd think after the will was read, that'd be the end of it. You'd think a grown man would hear his late mother's wishes and back off, show some humility. But no, Tyler didn't back down. He doubled down. For 2 weeks after Thanksgiving, he kept showing up, wandering the property like a hawk circling something wounded, taking photos, making calls, talking like the will was just an inconvenience. Lawyers make mistakes, he told me on the porch one morning. We'll contest it. She was sick when she signed it. I didn't answer. He kept going. Come on, Dad. You think it's fair? You got everything? That's not what Mom would have wanted. I stared at him. That is what she wanted. He scoffed. Yeah? Or maybe you talked her into it while she was doped up on morphine. That one hit. Low. Nasty. Below the belt, and he knew it. You were off in Florida, I said. Too busy to visit. Too busy to call. He looked away. I stepped forward. Don't you dare accuse me of anything. You weren't there. He muttered something. Something I didn't catch. Didn't matter. He left that day without slamming the door, but somehow it still felt loud. I thought that was the worst of it. I was wrong. A few days later, I came back from town with dog food and brake fluid. Pulled into the driveway and saw 2 strange cars parked in the grass. Contractor trucks. And a realtor's SUV. I walked inside and found Tyler standing in the living room with people. Suited, clipboard holding, opinion having people. He was talking fast, showing them around like he was giving a tour. This part's a tear down, we'll level it. But that original oak can be salvaged. Over there's where we'll put the pool. Oh, hey, Dad. He didn't stop talking. Just nodded at me like I was a tenant. Like I was the help. I said, what is this? The lady smiled. Just taking measurements. Your son's very ambitious. I turned to him. Get them out of my house. Our house, he said. That's when I saw it. He didn't believe the will mattered. Didn't believe it was over. He still thought he'd win. And somehow, in his warped little mind, I was just squatting in his future. He turned to the realtor. Ignore him. He's confused. I stepped forward. Get them out. That time, I didn't whisper. His jaw tensed. But he waved them off. We'll reschedule, he said, like he was some kind of executive calling the shots. They left without looking me in the eye. Tyler stayed. You're making this harder than it needs to be, he said. Let me handle it. Sell off some of the land. You'll live comfortable. Don't you want to relax, Dad? Don't you want to rest? I looked around at the house. My wife's old curtains. The clock she wound every Sunday. The spot on the wall where we measured the kids' height each year with pencil marks and dates. I said, you mean don't I want to disappear? He shrugged. You've had your run. It's my time now. That was the second time he said that. And this time, he meant it. Later that week, I found June in the garage. She was going through boxes, wiping dust off photo albums. I'm sorry, she said. I didn't think he'd go this far. I sat down on the old workbench. My knees ached. My hands still smelled like WD-40 and cedar. I raised him, I said. June nodded. Yeah, and he turned into a stranger. We opened a photo album. Page after page. 4th birthday party. Little League. Fishing trips. Christmas in 2006 with the tree crooked because he knocked it over with a toy lightsaber. So many smiles. So many years where I believed he'd grow into a good man. I closed the album. He thinks I'm weak, I said. June put a hand on mine. No, Dad. He thinks you're done. 3 days later, a letter showed up in the mailbox. Typed. No signature. But I knew the tone. We formally request a property reassessment and transfer of majority assets to the rightful heir, pending legal review. He was trying to sue me, take me to court, bleed me dry, flip the house before I could stop it. The county office called the next day, said someone was poking around the title, said the property might be under dispute. I laughed. A real, bitter laugh. Like the kind that makes your stomach hurt. He wasn't just kicking the chair out from under me. He was trying to burn the whole house down. I stood in the living room that night alone, looked around at everything I'd built, all the walls I'd painted, the floor I installed with my own 2 hands when June was 6 and Tyler was 3, and they'd drawn smiley faces on the baseboards with crayon. The fireplace my wife decorated every fall. The photo of us at the county fair, now a little faded in the frame. And suddenly, I saw it all like it was already gone. Like he'd already gutted it. Replaced the curtains. Put a big flat screen where the quilt used to hang. Probably rented out to tourists for $300 a night. He'd erase me, piece by piece. And for what? Some profit? Some twisted power trip? I sat in her chair by the window, the one she loved. Watched the sun dip behind the barn again. Same view. Same light. Same quiet. I reached for the drawer in the side table. Pulled out the folder. Inside was every document the lawyer had sent. Will, addendum, deed. I laid them all out, and I realized something. I had one move left, and it wasn't going to be loud. It wasn't going to be angry. It was going to be final. It was the Thursday before Christmas. Cold, windy. One of those Midwest days where the sky looks like wet concrete and everything smells like frozen dirt and old regrets. I'd just gotten back from the post office when I saw it. A for sale sign. Right there. Hammered into the front yard. Just a few feet from the oak tree we planted the year Tyler was born. There was snow on the ground, but I could still read it plain as day. Property available. Subdividable. Call for offers. He didn't even ask. Didn't call, didn't warn, didn't even lie about it. Just put the sign up like it was his name on the deed. I stood there for a while. Grocery bags hanging from my fingers. Wind stinging my face. And for a second, I thought maybe I was hallucinating. Maybe I'd hit my head in the driveway. But no, it was real. And just when I thought it couldn't sink any lower, he pulled up. Same truck. Same smug face. Music thumping like it was a nightclub, not a farm. He hopped out like he'd just won something. Pretty nice, huh? He said, pointing to the sign. Professional. Clean. Should attract the right kind of buyer. I didn't say a word. He walked up, patted the post like it was a trophy. I got a guy from Chicago coming next week, he said. Big interest in developing the land. You're sitting on gold, Dad. Time to cash out. I asked, did you talk to the lawyer? He waved a hand. Relax. That won't hold. Any decent attorney'll poke holes in it. You're clinging to something that's going to cost all of us money. All of us. I said. He smiled. June will come around. She's just emotional. Women are like that. That's when the bag tore. Gallon of milk hit the driveway, split open. Tyler laughed. You should let me hire someone to help you with shopping. You're not 25 anymore. Then he looked at me, and I mean really looked, and said, truth is, I'm embarrassed for you. There it was, like a bullet to the gut. Not because of the words, but because they came from him. The boy I'd taught to ride a bike. The one I carried in my arms when he broke his arm falling from the hayloft. The one who used to call me Superman. Now he looked at me like I was nothing. No anger. No shame. Just boredom. Like I was standing in the way of a future he already believed was his. That night, I sat at the kitchen table. The same one where we used to do bills. Where my wife used to hum Patsy Cline while folding laundry. Now it was just papers. Cold, sharp, ugly papers. Title reports. Threat letters. Real estate listings. He put in a petition to freeze the estate. Said I was mentally unfit. Claimed I was blocking the family's financial future due to emotional instability. He was trying to declare me incompetent. He wanted to take power of attorney, sell the house, sell the land, dump me in some assisted living facility like I was a sack of potatoes past the expiration date. And the worst part? He really thought he could win. I called June, told her everything. She cried, asked what she could do. I told her, be ready. It's time. Time for what? She said. I didn't answer, because I was already standing, already putting on my coat, already moving toward the drawer where the second envelope was kept. Yes, second, because what my son didn't know was that my wife left more than one letter behind. She knew how he thought, how he schemed. She predicted all of it, the charm, the greed, the slow, smug takeover. So she gave me something, a weapon, not a gun, not money, something better, information. And now it was time to use it. The next day, I showed up at Tyler's office downtown, the real estate one with the slick logo and no soul. I walked in, tracking mud on the tile floor. Let the receptionist squirm. Tell him his dad's here, I said. Tyler came out looking annoyed. Seriously, he said. This isn't the farm, Dad. You can't just barge in. I held out the second envelope. He looked at it like it was ticking. What's this? Read it. I don't have time, read it. He opened it, pulled out the pages. And then, for the first time in years, I watched his face actually change. Panic. Confusion. A crack in the armor. He looked up. Where did you get this? Your mother. He went pale. This can't be legal. It's very legal, I said. You're bluffing. I leaned in. I buried her. I kissed her forehead. I sat in that hospital chair for 16 hours a day. You weren't there. So don't you dare tell me what's real. He folded the paper slowly. Didn't say a word. Didn't have to. He knew. He'd lost. And he wasn't getting the land. Wasn't getting the house. Wasn't getting a single damn inch. But I wasn't done. Not yet. I walked to the door, turned back and said, hope you didn't spend too much on that truck. Because next week, I smiled. You're gonna need a lawyer. I didn't sleep that night. Didn't toss. Didn't pace. Just sat there. Still. Sharp. Like a blade right before the cut. The papers my wife left sat on the table in front of me. Typed. Signed. Notarized. Tucked in a blue folder with her name across the tab. She'd done it all behind my back. Called the lawyer. Moved assets. Rewrote the will. Protected me. Even in dying, she'd fought harder for me than our son ever had in his life. Now it was my turn. I wasn't just keeping what was mine. I was going to make sure Tyler understood one thing. You don't bury your parents while they're still breathing. Next morning, I called Greg, the lawyer. You sure it'll hold up? I asked. Rock solid, he said. You've got full ownership of the estate. He's got no legal claim, no rights, nothing. Can he drag it out? Sure, but he'll lose. Then it's time, I said. Time for what? But I didn't answer. Because lawyers handle the law. I was going to handle the lesson. The plan wasn't complicated. Not because I'm some genius, but because Tyler made it easy. He'd spent so long seeing me as a weak old man, he forgot I was the one who taught him how to throw a punch. First thing I did? Called the county zoning board. Asked them to put a temporary block on all development applications tied to the land. Told them there was a legal dispute pending. Environmental review. Ownership clarification. You name it. They flagged it. Suddenly, Tyler's big Chicago buyer couldn't get permits. Couldn't get blueprints approved. Couldn't even dig a fence post. He called me 2 days later. Did you block the permits? He barked into the phone. I don't know what you're talking about, I said. Bullsh *T. You did something. I just smiled. Maybe I'm just confused and mentally unfit. He hung up. Strike one. Next move? I called every contractor, investor, and agent Tyler had paraded through my house. Told them calmly, politely, that I owned 100% of the property. Then I sent them copies of the deed, the notarized will, the land survey. They all pulled out. No one wants to back a prince with no kingdom. Strike two. But the third part? That's where it got personal. See, Tyler had been using Mom's old company, the family business, as collateral for a private loan. He thought it would pass to him. He'd already started signing his name on documents like he was the CEO. But my wife had seen it coming. She'd taken her shares and moved them into a private trust. Left it under my name, with one condition: if Tyler ever tried to sell, leverage, or manipulate the business, I had the right to fire him. On the spot. No severance. No payout. Just a box and a door. So I drove into town. Walked into the office he thought he owned. Nodded at the secretary. Tell him his father's here. He came out, eyes bloodshot. You here to gloat, he said. I slid the letter across the counter. Termination notice. Effective immediately. He didn't read it. Just stared at me. You're ruining everything. No, I said. I'm fixing it. You raised me. And you buried me, I said. But I crawled out. He grabbed the paper. Crushed it in his hand. You think this makes you a hero? I leaned in. I'm not a hero. I'm just done losing. That night, I sat on the porch with June. She brought me coffee. Black. Just like her mom used to make it. The kids were inside, watching cartoons. The air was cold, but the quiet felt warm. Is it over? She asked. I looked out at the land. The barn. The horizon. No, I said. Not yet. What's left? I didn't answer right away. Because this last part, the final step, wasn't about money. It wasn't even about land. It was about that chair. The one he sat in at Thanksgiving. My chair. Like he'd already won. Like I didn't matter. No, this last move was going to be public. I called the local paper. Told them I had a story. A good one. An exclusive. They sent a reporter the next morning. I gave her everything: documents, the will, the property filings, the trust, even the eviction notice I was planning to serve. She asked, why now? I looked at her and said, because people need to know. That just because you're old doesn't mean you're done. She smiled. That article was scheduled to run front page on Sunday, with pictures of the house, the land, and me standing on the front porch, wearing my late wife's flannel and holding the deed. But there was one more thing to do before that article dropped. And it was going to hurt. For him. More than anything else I'd done so far. Sunday came quiet. Cold air. Frost on the windows. A thin layer of snow that made everything feel clean, like the world was trying to reset itself. I sat on the porch with my coffee, waiting for the sound of tires on gravel. It didn't take long. 8:02 a.m., right on schedule. The paperboy's old Civic creaked down the lane, kicked up some ice, and dropped the bundle at the gate. I let it sit for a few minutes. Let the cold sink into the ink. Then I walked out, picked it up, and peeled off the rubber band. Front page. Family land, legal lies, and one father's fight. The battle for the Markham farm. There it was. My story. Our story. Right next to a picture of me in front of the house, hand on the porch rail, wearing Helen's red flannel. The headline hit like a freight train. Tyler's name in bold. The kind of bold you don't come back from. I read every word, every quote, every document, every fact. Greg made sure it was airtight. No spin, no slander, just truth. The kind Tyler had been ducking for years. By 9:30, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I let it ring out. Again at 9:45. Then a voicemail. Then another. And another. By the time noon rolled around, the town knew. Everyone knew. June showed up around 1 p.m. with a grocery bag and wide eyes. You did it? She asked. I nodded. I thought you were bluffing. I don't bluff, I said. I simmer. We unpacked soup and bread and soda for the boys. She handed me a bottle of Helen's favorite tea. I didn't ask where she found it. We sat at the table. No words. Just the sound of the heater kicking in and the wind scraping dead leaves down the porch steps. Then came the knock. Not loud, but full of something. I opened the door and there he was. Tyler. Pale. Messy. Hair all over the place. Like he hadn't slept. He didn't come to fight. He came to beg. You didn't have to go public, he said. I just looked at him. You humiliated me. I sipped my tea. Good, I said. He stepped forward. Dad, come on. This is serious. I've got investors pulling out. My reputation, I raised my hand. You sat in my chair. He blinked. What? At Thanksgiving, I said. You sat in my chair. You looked me in the eye and called me pathetic. He opened his mouth to reply, but I kept going. You tried to take the house, the land, my dignity. You dragged my name through lawyers and lies, and you thought I'd just sit back and let it happen. He said nothing, so I stepped forward. Now you care about your name? Your reputation. He swallowed hard. You win, okay? You got what you wanted. I smiled. Oh, son, I'm just getting started. The eviction notice was already drawn up. But I waited. I wanted to deliver it face-to-face. So when he went back to his apartment, a unit he couldn't actually afford without the money he planned to steal, I followed. Knocked once. He opened the door in sweatpants and panic. I handed him the envelope. What's this? He asked. You have 30 days, I said. To do what? Pack. Leave. Disappear. I don't care. He opened it. Read the first few lines. You're evicting me from the office? From the office. The company car. The benefits. The email address. The business cards. All of it. But I built all that. No, I said. Your mother built it. I protected it. You leached off it. He tried to argue. Tried to bluster. I'll fight it. I'll sue. Already tried, I said. Didn't work. He leaned against the doorframe like someone punched the air out of him. What do I even have left? He said quietly. I didn't answer. I didn't have to. That night, I sent the final letter. Not to Tyler. To the zoning office. The freeze on development? It stayed. Indefinitely. The land would never be sold. Never be paved. Never be chopped into little pieces for people with big wallets and no soul. Instead, I donated part of it, 50 acres, the best part of the ridge, to a conservation trust in Helen's name. Helen's Hill. They're putting up a sign next spring. Trail markers. Birdwatching stands. It'll stay green long after I'm gone. And Tyler? He'll drive past it every time he tries to leave town. Every time he applies for a job. Every time someone Googles his name and finds that article. Every time someone asks, weren't you the guy who tried to steal your father's farm? He'll remember. Not the land. Not the house. But the one thing he never saw coming. Me. It started with a bang. Literally. Tyler's truck, that shiny, overcompensating, payment-dodging beast, got repossessed at 7:46 a.m. on a Wednesday. Driver didn't even knock. Just backed the tow rig up the driveway, hitched it, and rolled off while Tyler stood barefoot in boxers, holding a coffee mug and blinking like a man in a nightmare. He yelled, cursed, tried to stop them. Didn't matter. They had the papers. He had missed 3 payments. I had made sure of that. See, one of the investors he borrowed from? That wasn't an investor. That was a friend of mine from church, owns a financing firm on the side. Tyler took the loan without reading the fine print. Defaulted the second I shut down his development. And with no income? Boom. The truck was gone. Strike one. By noon, his company card stopped working. He found out in the grocery store, trying to buy wine and a $9 rotisserie chicken. The cashier scanned, paused, scanned again. Do you have another card, sir? Tyler's jaw twitched. He called the bank. They confirmed what I already knew. The business account was closed. Frozen under executive mismanagement. Strike two. That same day, the paper ran a follow-up story. Nothing dramatic. Just an editor's note. They'd fact-checked Tyler's resume. Found out he never really held a management role in the family business. Found out his investor portfolio was a spreadsheet full of made-up numbers and borrowed names. Found out his plans to revitalize rural land were based on templates he pulled from Google. The comment section lit up like fireworks. Spoiled trust fund brackets caught. Built nothing. Claimed everything. Imagine trying to steal your dad's house. His LinkedIn vanished by that night. Strike three. But I wasn't done. No. Next came the dinner. I called it family night. Told June to bring the kids. Told Tyler to show up. Said it was time to talk like adults. He bought it. Walked in late, wearing cheap cologne and fake confidence. Guess I'm the villain now, he muttered. No guessing needed, I said. June gave me a nervous glance. I stood up, raised my glass. To family, I said. The ones who stay, and the ones who leave. Tyler rolled his eyes. I set down the envelope. Everyone recognized it by now. He flinched. What now? He snapped. This, I said, is the formal record of your removal from the family trust. I already got fired, he said. What else was there to take? I opened the folder. Control of Mom's copyrights, I said. The old blueprints. The land surveys. All of it? She copyrighted it. He blinked. She what? She was smart. Smarter than both of us. She protected her designs. The business name. The family crust. June whispered, the crust. Everything, I said. You wanted to use it for your real estate firm, didn't you? He stayed quiet. Well, you can't, I said. Because I own it. And I'm shutting it all down. His mouth opened, then shut. Like a fish choking on air. I slid one more paper across the table. It was small. Just a photo. Old. Faded. But unmistakable. A check. Made out from Helen to a woman named Clara Mitchell 20 years ago. Tyler's biological mother. He stared at it like it was in a foreign language. You lied to me, he said. I shook my head. No. We protected you. Raised you. Loved you. But you always knew. He stood up so fast the chair clattered backward. You're not even my real father, he shouted. Real enough to feed you. To carry you. To bury the woman who gave everything so you could walk around like a king. Tears welled in his eyes, but I didn't stop. You tried to erase me, I said. But you never had the power. He didn't speak. Didn't look at June. Just stormed out the door. Later that night, June and I sat on the porch. She was quiet. Do you think he'll come back? She asked. I think he'll run, I said. Like he always does. She nodded. Doesn't make it hurt less. No, I said. But at least now it's honest. 2 days later, a moving van pulled up to Tyler's apartment. He didn't say goodbye. Didn't leave a note. Just left. Vanished. No address. No number. Good. He wanted a kingdom. What he got was silence. And the sound of a door slamming shut. It was time. Time to finish what he started. No more warnings. No more quiet moves. No more letting him crawl back in with a smile and a lie. This time I swung the axe. And it fell hard. It began with the auction notice. Certified. Stamped. Final. I posted a copy to Tyler's old office door, even though he didn't work there anymore. Even though he hadn't been back in weeks. Just for the symbolism. Foreclosure auction. Property assets liquidated by original owner. The building? The land? The equipment? All under my name. And all gone. I wasn't selling the house, no, that was sacred. But the extension? The future headquarters of Tyler's fantasy empire? Rented to a local farm co-op by Tuesday. They're turning it into a training site for young farmers. His dream? Recycled. Then I sent a letter to the bank he borrowed from. Detailed every misrepresentation on his loan application. They didn't call me back. They froze his account. That same week, his girlfriend, the one with the fake laugh and expensive nails, left a note on his windshield. I didn't sign up for broke. Tyler called me 3 times. Didn't answer. 4th time, I picked up. Dad, please. You made your point. I didn't speak. He kept going. You win, okay? You took everything. Still quiet. You want me to say I'm sorry? You're not sorry, I said. You're scared. A pause. I'm your son. Not anymore. Then the family group chat exploded. Texts. Missed calls. Emails. Aunt Rita sent a Bible verse. Uncle Bill said, "What the hell's going on over there?" Cousin Mark offered to mediate. Even he had heard about the article. And he lives 2 states away. The panic was beautiful. Like watching dominoes fall. One tap. One move. And everything he stacked started to crumble. Even June was getting texts now. From people who had taken Tyler's side. People who thought I was just some bitter old man who couldn't let go. Now, they were realizing who the snake really was. The final blow came on a Sunday. Town council meeting. Tyler always wanted to get into politics. Said it was his backup plan in case real estate didn't work out. I sat in the back row. Quiet. Hat low. Paper in my coat pocket. The council president started reading public concerns. Zoning violations. Permit fraud. Misuse of business titles. Then she got to mine. I stood up, handed her the documentation. Let her read it aloud. The whole room listened as she said the words. Tyler Markham submitted false documents under the name of a dissolved company, claiming land rights he never held. Effective immediately, all applications under his name are void. Tyler wasn't there, but half the town was. And by the next day, the other half knew. That night, I got an email. No subject, no body, just a PDF. It was Tyler's resume. Empty, scrubbed clean. No mention of the family business. No mention of the farm. Just a sad little line at the bottom, currently seeking new opportunities. I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. The next morning, June showed up again. No groceries this time. Just her. Tired. Holding a stack of letters. Dad, she said, you need to read these. They were from Tyler. Dozens. All handwritten. Sloppy. Angry. Desperate. He sent them to her, knowing I'd never read them if they came straight to me. Each one worse than the last. You destroyed my life. I was trying to build something. You didn't have to go nuclear. This wasn't supposed to happen like this. I hate you. Then the final one. Just one line. You were supposed to die first. I didn't flinch. Didn't cry. Didn't throw the letter away. I burned it. One match. One flame. Gone. He wanted to hurt me. He did. But not like he thought. Not with those words. No. The real hurt was knowing that all these years, while I was raising a son, he was sharpening a knife. Later, June asked me, is this the end? I looked out the window. Wind across the field. Snow melting into cold earth. That same empty chair by the window. No, I said. This is the start. Of what? Peace. She took my hand, squeezed it tight. Then she whispered, he doesn't know who you are anymore. And I said, he never did. The calls stopped. The letters, too. Tyler went quiet. No more threats. No more whining. No more last-ditch pleas. He disappeared the way cowards do, fast, without grace, and with no one left to blame but himself. Rumor says he moved south. Took a job doing something small. Sales. Furniture, maybe. From future mogul to commission checks and break-room coffee. Fitting. June stayed close. Kept her distance from the mess, but never from me. We don't talk about him much anymore. Not out of anger. Just nothing left to say. Christmas came around. Cold, brittle. The kind of December where the frost clings to your bones. I pulled the old decorations out of the attic. Put up the lights myself. Crooked, but honest. June brought the boys. They helped string popcorn, broke half the strand in the process. I didn't mind. Then we sat down for dinner. Turkey. Potatoes. Her biscuits. One chair still empty. The one by the window. Same one Helen always sat in. I didn't fill it. Didn't offer it. Just let the light from the tree hit it soft and quiet. That chair meant something. Always did. It wasn't a seat. It was a reminder of what happens when you take things for granted. When you forget who built the table you're eating at. After dinner, the boys went to the living room. I stayed behind. Just me and June, washing dishes like we used to when the kids were small. She asked one question. Same one I've been turning over in my head ever since. Do you think he'll ever come back? I dried my hands, looked out that window, and said, if he does, the chair'll still be empty. She didn't ask why. She already knew. Some things break, and some things should stay broken.